fixed it. Oh, honey fawns. You couldn't have been any more on time. And Ava Zombie. Happy to have you. Ava, have you heard my song Zombies Everywhere? Have you heard my song Zombies Everywhere? As I'm going to YouTube to check and make sure that that song still exists. I like zombies. Oh, it does exist still. Wow, that's beautiful. That is amazing. Okay, anyways. Whoa, really? Honey Fonz? There's a lot of duplicate names in the stream. I usually go by Blair online, says Honey Fonz. But my IRL name is Ava. Why Blair, Honey Fonz, if you don't mind me asking? And welcome back, Zodiac. It's the beginning of the stream number 165, so I will be playing an alternate version of Spring Street. Yesterday. I was at IKEA. It was a pretty sad trip to IKEA, but I saw a really, really weird example of alliteration in Swedish. I was like, oh, Maddie might like this. That's about the extent of how much I know you, Maddie. I just see alliteration and I go, this seems like something that Maddie might be into. Good morning, Darius. Good afternoon, then. I almost said funny Hans. Honey Fonz. Whoa. Whoa. My neighbor's car is smoking. My neighbor's pulling things out of their trunk, but their trunk is emitting a lot of smoke, which is a weird place for smoke to be coming from. Do you ever think about, I mean, I don't know what kind of neighborhood you guys live in, but do you ever think about your like limited interactions with your neighbor, and you're like, this is this person that I've lived like maybe a few feet away from, a few feet being, an understatement, but I lived really close to them, far closer than I lived to any of my friends, but you just don't know this person at all. I feel like to a lot of my neighborhood, except for the kids, because I get along with the kids really well. And my immediate neighbors, like the people underneath me. But for most of the people in the cul-de-sac, I think I only exist in this window. They very rarely see me leave. Because usually when I leave, I jump over the back fence. I don't like walk down the street very often. And so to them, I'm just kind of like this figure in a window playing piano most of the time. What? I'm lost. I'm lost. I have no idea what's happening anymore. I'm gonna stop looking. I'm gonna stop looking because now it's confusing me. Okay, Guys, this is Friday, which means it's the last stream of the week, so I'm going to try to cover as many talking points as possible on today's stream. And I'm not planning on any of them being food, but it might end up being food at some point. And for those people that don't enjoy talking about food, I apologize for that. I try to steer the conversation away from it as much as I possibly can. Guys, so next Friday is my production stream. So I should probably... Next Friday is my production stream, so I should probably start talking about now and figuring out what exactly the production stream is going to be about this coming week. Because the Fridays are usually like pretty sleepy streams, you know? As opposed to, I feel like Mondays and Tuesdays are usually the full streams. Even we can see now with the 9 people, it's just a few of us in here chilling. And so we can kind of figure out what exactly next production stream is going to be. The people that were in it, I feel like Liana was in it. I feel like Maddie was in it. Outside of Liana and Maddie, I don't know who in today's stream was in the production stream. But if there is a thing that you saw that maybe was not delved into deeply enough, or maybe something that I didn't get into at all that you would like to see more about, or you would like to learn more about, now would be the time to do that. Interesting. Liana. Well, I hope you enjoy that vacation time. Do something productive with it. Even if that productive thing is just relaxing and recharging. Hello, Jordan. Welcome to the stream. Maddie says, our neighbors share the stairs down to our front doors. Sometimes I run into them sweeping the stairs or watering plants. And that's our only person interactions. You know, it's hard. Not everybody can or even necessarily should be best friends with their neighbors. The people that are in my building, I am very close with them. Like, the people in my building, they all know my name. They all know what I do for a living. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the architecture of this building. Because there's one staircase in the front, and there's one staircase in the back. And so, you know, I have to run into them eventually at some point. Also, we all park next to each other, and since we live in a cul-de-sac, people kind of just hang out in the cul-de-sac. Like, people like sit around and chill or walk around, and my window literally overlooks them. So it would be kind of weird if they like looked up and saw me and didn't at least wave. So I have a pretty good relationship with the people in my building, but the people kind of like scattered around the street. You know, it's not a tight relationship by any means. This song that I'm about to play now is Untitled also. It's one of the transition songs. next production stream, says Liana. Are you aiming to look more through released or unreleased stuff? I'm trying not to like really dig through unreleased stuff. I would like to maybe make something new, maybe, or go over things that that already have been released. Good morning, Daniel. Oh my god, bacon and eggs. If I open bacon and eggs, Liana, there's a slight chance that the vocals won't open, but the music should. What a deep cut. I don't want to see your sound design, or see me sound design. So, okay, word up. That could be fun, actually. That could be fun, actually. I'm not like really like a heavy sound designer, Daniel. Meaning a lot of my instrumentation and composition usually includes some type of emulation. Wow, a lot of big words. Usually emulate existing instruments or musical ideas. You know, like I'll have a bunch of like woodwinds in a production, for example, or I'll use a lot of instruments that, or even synth patches that emulate, like this kind of sounds like a woodwind, this kind of sounds like a guitar. So I do a lot of emulation. Sound design, as far as like, you know, just making like really weird sounds, like people have grown to expect from like drum and bass or dubstep or even some electro house music, isn't necessarily my thing. You might even notice, Daniel, that when I was showing, I don't know if you were in the production stream, Daniel, But when I was showing a lot of the tracks that I made, there wasn't even a lot of soft synths open. There wasn't a bunch of synthesizers open, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we can do like a quick sound design thing. Absolutely. Oh, the choppers. They be calling out the choppers. Okay. I do not remember writing the song Double Lutz. Liana, do you remember me making this song? No. Oh, I'm sorry, Liana. I'm also sorry, Maddie, about the weed whackers. I do remember that this part wasn't always in it, Liana. I remember adding this part. gotta figure out how I built up to that party. Oh, that part. There it is. God dang. I didn't really play before yesterday. Okay, so let's talk about history of piano practice because this song kind of weaves into that a little bit. So the reason I don't play the song anymore is because, like I said briefly in yesterday's stream, I don't really play a lot of my super dramatic stuff anymore. I kind of started trying to implement things that I felt like people would want to leisurely listen to, like really like jazzy, fun, poppy stuff. You know, things you could sing to. It would kind of be hard for me to write lyrics to that. And so I didn't have a piano, or at least I didn't have this keyboard back then when I wrote that song. I used to work. I used to be a caregiver, and sometimes it meant I was like going into people's homes to provide like personal care, which is when I talked also yesterday or a couple days ago about the blind guy that I used to take care of. That's why I was doing that for work. So this one family that I would go out to take care of the son, they had a piano. They had an upright piano, and they were like really chill, like religious people. And they always had like it was like an upright, nice wooden upright piano with like hymns. They always had like this book open of hymns, but nobody in the house like actually played piano. Um, the the mother the mother I think used to, or the mother was like took piano lessons when they were a kid, and so they were gifted this piano by their parents, but they never played it. Like out of the entire time I was there, which was I want to say 2 years working with that family, nobody ever touched that piano besides me. And at one time, the grandma, when she came over to visit, she played it for a moment. Um, oh, hey, Cyber, how you doing? Well, my eyes did a really weird thing, and I couldn't read anything you said. Um, I don't know that reference. Is Cyber making a reference to something? Good morning, Shark, by the way. What I was saying, what I was saying is nobody would play the piano. So since I knew how to play keyboard, and a lot of the time, if I'm being fair, like especially if you're taking care of somebody that isn't like intense, like being a caregiver, you'll have like a variety of different clients, some of which will be very, very kind of lax. Like you kind of just need to prepare meals for them, clean up things around the house, and kind of be there in case something happens, like an emergency. Think of it as like being an on-call nurse for somebody that can more or less take care of themselves. And then there are some where the person is just completely dependent. Like they can't do anything on their own. You got to help them get dressed. You got to fix their meals. You got to like drive them to their doctor's appointment. You have to organize things for them in the day. You have to make sure they're taking their medication, and it's like a lot. But this wasn't one of those. This was like a little bit more of a relaxed situation. Like I would take the son to his doctor's appointments. I would work on physical exercises with him, like a habilitations technician. Like you work on physical therapy, and then yeah, cooking. cooking and cleaning, all that, like a nurse slash maid. But it wasn't super busy all the time. Hello, Lindsay. Welcome back. It wasn't super busy all the time. Um, yeah, don't forget your meds, Shark. It wasn't super busy all the time, and there was this piano in the corner. So sometimes while he was like eating or playing like his like brain games on his iPad, or maybe even while he was in a doctor's appointment, I would go over to the piano and just mess around. And so when I was sitting there playing the piano, either while he was in the house or while no one was in the house, I kind of just was allowed to create whatever I wanted to, because at the time I was playing in bands, and so I didn't necessarily want to write my band music here. I wanted to write like cool, weird, fun stuff. And God, I need to look up a lot of those old videos because some of those songs were really, really fun and really cool to play. Um, and Cyber, I guess, saw some of them. Um, the song of my heart. Thanks, Cyber. Cyber saw some of those old ones. And so that's where a Judgment song comes from. A lot of the music I was writing at the time was really dramatic like this. I wouldn't say that anything I was making at the time was inherently jazzy. It was a lot more classical in its approach. So, that being said, at the time I did not have a piano. Usually when I'm playing a piano outside of my own space, my own creative space, I don't feel the pressure necessarily to perform or make like use of my time. I'm just kind of messing around and noodling. And so at my old job, yeah, there was a piano there, and that's where a lot of that more dramatic music comes from. Even the Witchy song has its roots in that piano in that house. Sometimes I'll play, like, sometimes there are permutations of those old songs that I'll still play today, and that's why they kind of stick out like a sore thumb. Like, I feel like there is a general trend on the way that my music sounds now. It's generally either jazzy or kind of like innocent fun, and then every now and then there's like either the Witchy song, which does have a slightly different mood, and then Judgment. That part is so hard. Very different feel than like a lot of the stuff that I make now. It is more similar to Witchy in that it's more dramatic. I feel like all of those songs didn't necessarily have any. They didn't have a good lifespan, right? Because I can't really play them. But Witchy comes from that same. Like, Witchy's roots come from that same era. Like, comes from that same kind of time time and place creatively. Now, I've added a lot of things to Witchy, of course, like this bit wasn't there. Like there's a lot of things that got added, but the core of the song came from that era of me writing stuff. It's a little bit harder for me to tap back into that specific type of writing. I just don't really write like that anymore. Not idly, right? Like if I'm just sitting at a piano, very rarely will I naturally land on a really dramatic, classically informed piece. Usually, now a lot of the stuff that I make is more jazz informed than classically informed. That makes sense. That was unintentional, Cyber. Maybe that's why I like it so much, says Maddie, about the Witchy song or about this newer one. Yeah, they come from the same place. Yeah, a lot of these songs are really old. Something that's really interesting to think about, for me, or even necessarily interesting to talk about, even in terms of Fruity Loops, is like a lot of my songs have very, very deep roots. Sometimes roots that I don't even quite understand or that are not necessarily apparent to me at the time. For example, Spring Street, there is a very old video. Oh, you guys want to be tripped out? There's a very old video of me playing the roots of Spring Street, and I'm like a teenager. Yes. I'm a teenager and I'm playing in a band. It was like my warm-up into a song that we ended up playing. Like, I made an intro to a song. Now, it's not Spring Street like the way everybody knows where like the but like this part, that's like, that's a very old thing. Sorry. You guys will forgive me, right? You guys will forgive me if I play this in the stream. I'm so trash. You won't be able to hear it. Oh, maybe you will. It's almost scary how quickly I found this video. It's a really old video. Does anybody know where Scottsdale, Arizona is? That was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't know why I dragged out the intro that long. It's a slight like variation though. It was a pop punk band. Arizona was weird. Anyways, so what I was saying was, Spring Street, like a lot of these songs, are very, very old. But what happens... Hold on, I like messed up the angle. What happens over time is I'll make an idea. Let's say I'll make an idea and I'll put it in a song back when I was like going by DJ Agnes because I was an idiot. Good morning, Kid James. Make an idea, make a song, that band breaks up, and then later it's not like I'm actually like harmonically mining my old songs and going like, oh, I could use this for this project. It's just that I think that you are you, and you'll naturally sometimes arrive at certain conclusions. Almost like when people are like, oh, I have a type, or they look at like all of their exes in the lineup and they're like, I think that I might have a type. Like I kind of just happen to like fall into these eventualities romantically. I think the same thing happens musically. And so Me playing Spring Street now, like, I mean, as a jazz song, it didn't used to be a jazz song. As you heard there, was an intro to a very aggressive, like, pop punk rock song. And so, yeah, a lot of these songs are old, and sometimes, unless I have video proof of them or, like, recorded evidence, I won't know. I won't notice. So, who knows how old some of these songs are? Well, some of these songs are kind of old. I mean, some of these songs are definitely new just because I didn't have the prowess and the skill to play some of these things a while ago, and like the chord vocabulary. But a lot of like the core bits, the bits and the grits and the pieces of these songs are kind of seeds that were planted in older songs and older arrangements of mine, like, forever ago. Something to think about. Okay, so, speaking of Clover Salad, oh, I screwed that up. I really want to make another part to Clover Salad because as it stands right now, that's the entirety of the song, and then it just loops that. I want to make like a third section to that song. This is kind of inspiring, says Lindsay, because I have a bunch of bits of songs that I used to get bummed out about and haven't developed anything from them yet. Yeah, those bits come back all the time. Sometimes they'll come back even if you made them. For example, I have a few songs that'll contain the same, like, I mean, we talk about this chord progression and how it's just in so many of my songs. It's like in Key Lime, it's in Catching Up, it's in Into Thin Air. It's in a lot of things, and so sometimes you'll arrive at something even if it is developed and released. You'll come back to it. I like that. I think a lot of people, pursuing music, maybe they want to have money, maybe they want to have peace of mind, or hold on. Maybe they want to have a stable career or whatever. But in my opinion, one of the most difficult things as an artist, or one of the things that people seem to pursue the most doggedly, um, hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay, so, as I was saying, people seem to chase having an identity, right? People seem to chase having a sound. I've always thought one of the most... my gloves smell really nice. My gloves smell like eucalyptus, and I know exactly why. But anywho, usually one of the things that people chase is an identity, and I think that's really funny when people are like pursuing an identity, because an identity isn't necessarily something that you find or acquire like a $5 bill or an apartment. It's just something that happens, right? It's something that happens. I feel like a lot of people in high school or whatever, and maybe even early collegers, like a lot of them are frustrated or they're angsty because they don't know who or what they are. They don't know what their thing is. They don't really know what their interests are or what they're passionate about. And the weird thing is, like, yeah, people will say like you should go out and go to college or go to like a job fair, experience life, to find who you are. But the weird thing is, it's not something that you can actively obtain. I think that life just has to happen to you. So you can like put yourself in situations where life is happening to you at like a more rapid rate, for sure. Like if I sit in my room all day, life isn't happening to me nearly as aggressively as it would if I went out and interacted with different people, places, and things and whatnot. But I personally feel like your identity as a person is something that is just informed by everything that's happening to you and around you. And if enough things haven't happened to and around you, then you can't develop as a person. And so it's more of a time and accumulation thing than it is like an active uh, an activity, right? Like an active activity where it's like you can turn it on and off. You're always going to be becoming yourself, whether you're sleeping or you're eating or you're walking down the street. You know, it doesn't have to be this active thing all the time. Um, and so I think the same thing is also true in artistic identity, right? Like my sound or somebody's style of drawing or animating, somebody's style of voice acting, a lot of these things you can't just go out and decide, I want to create my own sound. I want it to sound like this, and I want it to sound like this. I want it to be like edgy, but also like jazzy. I want it to be complicated because those are the things you're listening to, sure, you know. The hard thing about being yourself is that you don't exist in the world. I'm rambling out at this point. But you don't exist in the world outside of you, so you can't really take pointers from somebody else, what they are, you know. If I listen to somebody else's song, I might think, I want my song to sound like that, dang. And I might actually believe that. I might actually really believe that in my heart. But then I try, maybe, and I fail to sound exactly like them, and I end up sounding somewhere like something along the way, which ends up kind of being me. And then you just have to be okay with that. If I told you guys about every single time that I was, if I told you about like every single time I was playing around with like synthesizers in my room and I heard a song and I thought, that's it, that's what I want to make. I want to sound like Crackazat, or I want to sound like Dorian Concept, or I want to sound like Frederick Robinson, or I want to sound like Thundercat, or I want to sound like Kate Renata, or I want to sound like Jay Dilla, or I want to sound like, you know, there's always so many things that I will think for 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 months. I want to sound like this. I want to do what they're doing. And then I go to my room and I make music and I don't do it. I don't end up sounding like them, but I end up coming up with something interesting, you know? It's just not them. And that's dope because I think that's all artists. I think that even the people that I looked up to as a kid were looking up to somebody else and trying and failing to sound like their idol. Anyways, Lindsay says I can't even decide what type of line art style I want. It's too hard. Let alone the rest of the components. Yeah. No line art, says Daniel. That is an option. Some people don't have line art. Goodness gracious. I think if we're talking about styles, the hard thing about this conversation is I don't necessarily have a concrete buttoned-in style. I have some motifs that crop up. I have some tools, both physical, tactile, sonic, and mental, emotional tools that I will incorporate when I'm making a song that kind of gives it the like omni flavor. But if somebody's listening to idly, if they're listening to oh snap. Anyways, somebody's listening to that. They're like, okay, cool, this is what type of music you make. And then they listen to, I don't know, Ego Breath. And they're like, this is a little different. And then listen to Speed Dream. And then they listen to Tall Tales. And then they listen to Lush Dream. They're like, these could be completely different artists. I don't care. And I think that an inconsistent style is my style. My style is inconsistency. If I make two releases that sound very consistent with one another, I don't know what I'll do. I don't know what I'll do. The last time I think I did that was Speed Dream and Nice Dream and Love Dream did sound somewhat similar. I was forcing it though, and that was the last time I forced it. I was making Love Dream. Oh, I really wish you guys could have heard what Love Dream actually sounded like. It doesn't exist though. It was on my old laptop that crashed. But I actually made Love Dream, and I loved the way it sounded. But whenever I was getting ready to release it, I would go onto my own SoundCloud and listen to Nice Dream, and I was like, if I release Love Dream the way it sounds right now, people are gonna hate. Um, People are gonna hate it because they want everything to sound like Bon Bon. They want things to sound like cute and bubbly, and it didn't sound like that at the time. So I remember going back and like kind of forcing some bubble into those tracks, and I don't regret it, but I would not do that again. Anyways, uh, ooh, big mind algorithms. I love talking about the algorithm, Cyber. I think it's more disturbing to me when an artist sounds the same after like 5 or 10 years, says Lindsay. Like he didn't grow or develop in that amount of time. Yeah. Do you have any weekend plans on me? Oh, thanks, Kit. Yeah, nobody asked me. The answer's no, but it feels nice to be asked. I think Ooh, we're gonna get into the grits, guys. We're gonna get into the grits. I promise I'm gonna do a medley today in this stream because it is the last stream of the week. But we're gonna get into the grits for a little bit because my friend Adrillix came and visited yesterday. For those of you that don't know who Adrillix is the artist who made Lush Dreams art. She made my icon that I'm using right now. She also made Signals album art, and she made the Daydream album art. She is dope, but she's also like I don't know. She's like my like really close friend in LA. Anywho, am I too late? Asks I don't know, original. Oh my god, the stream is at 12 a.m. for you? I mean, yeah, you're a little late, but it's okay. You're only an hour late, and we have like another hour or so of this, so thank you for making the time. I appreciate you. Ah! Sorry, I'm reading Cyber's comment. Yeah, that's pretty true, Cyber. Almost to a fault. But as I was saying, and this is going to answer your question a little bit, Kit. This is going to answer your question a little bit, so stay tuned. But anyways, Adrillix is like my close, like, bosom friend, and we've seen each other go through some really awful times and some really dope times, and I don't need to go through what all those times were, but we've just like, we've like grown together, and it's been really dope. And she's moving to Florida indefinitely, which is the opposite side of the country for me. So that's not ideal. And so I probably won't get to see her for a pretty long time. And so she came over and like hung out, and it was sad. When you know how there's like that, like the meme or the joke or the genuine sentimental idea of like hanging out with somebody and not being aware that it's the last time you're hanging out with them. Like you hang out with somebody and then something happens and they move. Like a close friend of mine named Danny who lives in downtown, when all the riots and everything were going on, he just straight up left. And it's like the fireworks, they're like upsetting his dog, and he was like, I think it's just finally time. And so he moved to Oregon. And it's like I didn't get to say goodbye or anything, but it's okay, I guess. You just don't know when you're hanging out with people for the last time whether they're going to pass away or they're going to move away or you guys are going to have an aggressive argument and a falling out or whatever. You just don't always know. And so somebody would say, well, I would rather know when it's the last time. And something about knowing is just as upsetting, especially if there isn't like a big party or something like that. Like Adrillix came over and we just like watched a YouTube review of that Dragon Ball Evolution movie. And like I just kind of like flipped through channels on my TV while she talked about kind of like nothing. We just talked about nothing, And then I had to leave. I had to go. I had like some errands to run, and so and she was gonna come with me, but she ended up not, and so yeah, I don't know. It's kind of sad. So that's what happened yesterday. And so when Kid James asked what I'm going to be doing this weekend, I think I'm gonna try to like make something for her. She doesn't come into these streams, so it'll still be a surprise, I suppose. I'm gonna try to make something for her before she leaves altogether. Um, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be doing this weekend as far as like busy stuff. But really, other than that, I got like nothing like big going on, nothing big, and what the heck was that? Got nothing big going on. I have like some work that I want to do. I have some work that I want to do. Like when I say work, I mean like just kind of cleaning. Like I really want to. Like this is the first time that I haven't had like a tour. You know, this is my summer. This is guys. June, July, August, September, August. Those are like my months. That's my months where I tour. I play all my shows. I release all my music. I make all my content. And so the fact that I can't do that now, I'm like, well, I need to do something. So I think I'm just gonna like deep clean my like studio space. I went to Home Depot and I bought a like paintbrush yesterday, so I'm using it to like dust stuff. Works perfect. I feel good about that. So I'm gonna like really dig into that and like really make my creative space like feel good. And then also work on the OBS stream to get it like looking maybe a little nicer and working a little bit smoother for next Friday's production stream. Um, but yeah, thanks for asking, Kid James. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna be doing this weekend. But that's also connected to another conversation that I was having because while talking to Adrelix, we were just talking about like artists and how artists find their sound and how artists find their style and how some artists will sound the same after a really long period of time. And something really interesting, Lindsay, is how me knowing Adrelix and Adrelix knowing me, we've seen, because we have like a very personal, very close relationship, so I see when things are going on in her life and I see how it affects her art, and it's super weird. Because obviously, like, I don't know Drake personally. So when Drake releases music, I'm just like, whatever, there's very little humanity in it. But when you, like, know an artist personally and you know what they're going through, and then you listen to their art and you're like, oh, I can feel them in this music. Like if they're feeling particularly lost, like their music will start to sound lost, and it's really weird. Or if they're like unhappy, their music will start to sound kind of unhappy. Even if the lyrics are happy and the music's happy, you kind of understand this like really weird, intangible like sub layer of a lot of their art. And so, yeah, my art changes a lot, and I think it's because I don't really want to get I don't want to get buttoned into one thing. I don't want to be like the chiptune guy or the jazz music guy. I don't want to be the ambient music guy. I just kind of want to be a music man. And outside of that, I also get bored very easily with certain limitations or restrictions. I think, I mean, I'm a baby in that way. Maybe I need to grow up. But like, as soon, you know that feeling when like you were gonna like clean your room. You're like maybe laying around on your bed and you're looking at your room and you're like, I gotta clean this room. Like I gotta get this place looking spiffy. And then like your mom pokes her head in the door and says like, you need to clean this room. And suddenly after your mom has told you to clean the room, cleaning the room is just the last thing you want to do because it no longer feels like your choice. It feels like you're carrying out orders. It's like your agency's gone. So that happens to me artistically, but it happens every single time I release a thing. Like, I will make a thing and I'll have so much fun making it, and then I'll release it to the world, and people will go like, oh, this is such a dope hip-hop remix. He's the hip-hop remix man. And then, like, immediately I don't want to do it anymore. Which is, you know, upsetting because I basically turn on fans as soon as I get them. Or I'll, like, make ambient music, and people are like, oh, this is so sick, it's so dreamy. And then I'm like, I want to make, like, funky house. Like, I want to make people dance. And then I'll make like house music and people will be like, oh, I love this. I've been dancing this all weekend. I'm like, I want to make something heartfelt that people can't dance to. I want to make something that you got to listen to. And so it makes me a wildly inconsistent artist. But I mean, on the plus side, I guess there's something for everyone. Dar says Omni's just never gonna shave his beautiful face, and I've accepted that. I will shave. I said I was gonna shave this weekend. And I'm hoping that happens. Usually I only shave when I'm feeling particularly good about things in my life, and that hasn't happened in a while. So now there's a bunch of hair on my face, but we'll see what we can do, Dar. I won't look like this forever, I promise. I promise. A promise has been made. I hate being put in a box as Liana. Yeah. Liana, what kind of music would you say Double Let's is? If you had to describe this song in 3 words, and 2 of the words weren't double or what's, I have hair on my face this cyber. It's a pretty good song, right, Mance? It's a pretty good song, isn't it? You got my vote. It's not inconsistency, it's range, says Dar. Oh, that's beautiful, Dar. Dar. Wow. On that note, I am going to return to my Adriel conversation because I wasn't done talking about what the things we dug into. One of the things we dug into was artistic integrity and evolution. So if you are an artist, somebody mentioned earlier in the stream, I don't remember who it was, but just so you know, I read your comment. Somebody mentioned that they were listening to artists and realizing how much artists change and evolve over time. This is going to happen with every artist. People sometimes will change with you. They'll follow you. There have been artists, for me, is it a ballad? Says maybe? Yeah, okay, alright, it's a ballad. I just feel weird using the word ballad when there's no lyrics, because I feel like ballads imply, a very, very comprehensible message, but maybe not so. Let's call it a ballad. Artistic integrity and evolution. Word up, Dar. I'll be here. I'll be here when you get back. But some people will grow with the artist, and I'm trying to think of an artist that I grew with. Let's say Ben Folds. I love Ben Folds. Ben Folds has been Ben Folds. He's also been in Ben Folds 5. He's been in like a lot of different projects, and every single time he releases another project, I listen to it and I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm with you on this one. But if you look at his wildly large discography, he has changed a lot along the way, Same thing with Freeze Pop, another like synth band. Like every single time they release something, I'm like, yeah, this is what I needed. When I was a lot younger, they were releasing like songs about, candy and bubblegum and sunshine and first kisses. And then I feel like the older I got, the more mature and darker their music got and a little bit more ambiguous it got, until straight up they were sounding like Depeche Mode or something. And I feel like, oh, I grew with their music. Or somebody can just identify with an artist so much that no matter what that artist does, they believe in the person and they kind of can follow them wherever they go. And this is a little bit of a more interesting topic, because me and Androlix talked about America and how sometimes I have been... Does anybody know the artist Green Parrot? I know it sounds like I'm just shooting a bunch of different directions, but I promise all this stuff is part of the same web. Does anybody know the artist Green Parrot? Cyber does. Of course Cyber does. You're on the internet, you gotta know Green Parrot. But regardless of whether anybody, I haven't heard of them, says Daniel. I'm gonna put their name here because their music is really good, but I might be, oh my god, I might be misspelling it. Omni, looks like you cleaned up a bit. What dudes? I mean, I'm wearing a white shirt. Do you mean my room? Okay, I'm gonna post their name here. If you're somebody that wants to look it up, you can. But that's the artist. There's an artist from Sweden named Green Parrot who me and him have been friends for 5 years, 6 years ish, somewhere in there. And one day when he was visiting Los Angeles and we sat down and ate ramen, he was talking about his life, like his artist life, and he was talking about Sweden and how like there's a bunch of like really cool government programs that'll offer grants to artists, and how like if you go to school, the government will like pay you this like stipend fund for going to school and getting an education. Basically, long story short, Sweden takes care of their people. The Swedish are taken care of by Sweden. And I was talking to him about how the idea or philosophy of a starving artist doesn't really exist for him there. Like, he's like, no, just because you're an artist and want to devote your time and career to making art, that doesn't mean that you go hungry. It just means that you have, like, maybe a little bit less of, like, a predictable, stable life, but you're still paying your rent and you're still eating. No one's going hungry because they decided to choose to be a DJ or whatever. And so he's saying that, and I'm like, wow. So what I think of as an artist and the artist struggle is not universal. It's not even global. You know? And so, same thing with Canada. Canadians are taken care of. I'm not going to talk too specifically about, like, Canada's politics and whatnot, but Canada takes a little bit better care of their people than we do here. For example, some of my Canadian artist friends, who I'm not going to name here because I don't want it to sound like I'm, like, coming for them, they do also receive, like, grants from the government. If they're going on tour, they can apply for, like, a special grant. There's, like, a fund designated for, like, artists that are going on tour or people that are going to, like, work abroad, that, like, they'll support you if you're, like, going. It's wild, but it's a thing. And so when my, like, artist friends come down here and they're selling stuff, it's like, yeah, I buy stuff from them, but I was thinking the other day, it's like, they don't need my money. Not as badly as I need my money. And so, the reason, or not the reason for that, that is the reason that has made me think they don't need my money. And I was talking about that to Adrilix, saying they don't need my money. It's such an interesting capitalist idea. Telling a business they don't need your money. It's like, I think of money as sometimes almost how I think of likes. Have you ever been scrolling? You have infinite likes, by the way. Don't know if you need me to tell you this, guys. You have infinite likes. You can like as many things as you want. I think Tinder has a slightly different approach to this, but if you're on Instagram or Twitter, you have infinite likes. You can like tweets all day. But I am still very economic about my likes. Sometimes I'll scroll past something and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to like that. I don't want to like that. They don't need my like. This thing already has, what, 50,000 likes? It's viral. Doesn't need my like, and I won't like viral tweets for this reason. Maybe I'll reply to them, you know. Maybe I'll be in the thread somewhere, but I'm not going to like it. It doesn't need my likes. And this concept is more of a capitalist concept, especially in art, than a lot of people think. And when I was talking to Adrilix about it, I was like, there are times where I will go around a dealer hall for, like, Anime Expo, Fanime, any con. I'm not going to name a bunch of conventions, but if I'm going to an art convention, Comic-Con, there's another one, I will usually designate $20 to $50, where on the last day of the con, I will walk around with my $20 or $50, and I will just look at things that I don't really need, but I will just look at people who have tabled, who look like they've really put, you know, effort into it, and they're really trying, and I'll just buy things from them, just because I'm like, hey, I want to support artists. I want to support artists. They need my money. Do I need this product? No, but they need my money. If there are two burger places and they're selling the same exact burger, but this one's a chain and this one's owned by Bob from around the corner, I'm probably going to buy Bob's Burger. This one's owned by Greg from around the corner. I'm probably going to buy Greg's Burger because in my brain... Oh, they're back. Sorry. It's so distracting. Anyways, I'm probably going to buy Greg's Burger because Greg needs the money more. Greg needs my money. McDonald's does not need my money. It's more of a capitalist thing. So, with music, that can happen too, and with art in general. I mean, I'm making it about music because I'm a musician, but I'm making it more so about art because when I was talking to Adrilix about it, it was like, she's an artist too, like a visual one. And I'm like, it's kind of like the tipping system, right? You give people money, not even necessarily because you feel like you owe them the money, but because you feel like they need the money and you have the money to give them. And no one else is taking care of them, and now it's kind of been put on you to take care of them. And so, when we talk about growing with an artist or identifying with an artist, there are a lot of different ways you can interact with and support an artist. You can, like, buy this album, and then when the artist changes, you can go, you know what? I don't like ambient music. I'm just going to keep listening to your old stuff. if that's cool. Still love you, technically support you. I'm just not with you right now, temporally, on what you're making. And I think that's one way to support an artist. Another way is to grow with them, or like be a stan where you just give them things all the time. You know? Where you're just there for them and you can't be left behind. You can't part from them. And um, a completely different approach for supporting an artist that is kind of American is linking to this person and going, this person needs support. And you're shouldering the weight of supporting them. It is very, very interesting because I've talked about this a lot to people like Green Parrot. And Green Parrot has said, I'll support my friends. Oh, now I'm like upset that I mentioned Green Parrot by name. But just take this at face value. But because it's not, I'm not trying to shine Green Parrot in a poor light or even myself in a poor light. But Green Parrot has said, I will support my friends and I will support people whose art I genuinely appreciate and like. But I'm not going to support somebody because I feel like they need the support. Because it feels like pity. And I was like, that's very interesting. I get that coming from your background and the type of system that you create art in. But for me, it never crosses my mind as pity. It crosses my mind more as like a benevolent gesture of belief. Like, I believe in you as a person, or as an artist. Somebody creates art and you don't even necessarily like the art, but you pay for the art. It's almost like a vote. It's like, I believe in you and I would like to see you succeed. Is this art for me? Do I personally love it? Maybe not. But I want to see you do well and I believe in you. I have faith in you. And it's a completely different type of transaction. And it's one that is not universal and it's not global. And it's actually not necessarily even an artistic thing. It's very personal, and I feel like it's a result of a system or society in which people aren't generally taken care of. Like, artists aren't necessarily taken care of, so we kind of have to do that. We have to like shoulder that burden or whatever. Sorry, kind of a heady talk. But so we're talking about artists evolving over time and sometimes losing support or gaining support. But sometimes having support doesn't have anything to do with the art. It has to do with people just having faith in you as a person. It's important to know people want you to succeed, even if they don't particularly like you. That's how you build support groups and stuff. I mean, yeah. It's nice when you want to support the person and you would regardless of the quality, but then the art is also good. Yeah. This is like, it's a bonus, right? When you want to support the person, but also they're really dope. I have no problem supporting a small artist, even when their work isn't my cup of tea. Yeah, that's a very, very unique thing, Maddie. Don't be like me. Don't take for granted that's just a thing that exists everywhere. That's a very unique thing. It's like a result of poor circumstances for artists. Because obviously, if artists were taken care of in the same way that Walmart is taken care of, like Walmart can't, it's so hard for Walmart to be in trouble, right? I honestly feel like even if Walmart was doing poor, like business-wise, I feel like the country would help Walmart out. Walmart's our friend, we gotta save Walmart. And so things like Walmart and cruise industry and like the airline industry and banks, like we just kind of learn not to pity them because they're taken care of. Like somebody is already pitying them. But the people that aren't taken care of, the artists that aren't taken care of, the animals that aren't taken care of, the children that aren't taken care of, we're like, oh, that's my responsibility now. When really, it is not. Logically, it's not your responsibility to take care of really any of those things other than yourself. But It's a beautiful thing, right? It's really benevolent, I guess. Very well intentioned. Um, wow. Speaking of support, oh crap. See, I can show these things now. I can show these things. Look at me. I'm like an admin. That's what I'm like. Okay, it's like tipping the waiter even if you don't like them. Yeah. That's why I brought up tipping earlier, Dar. Oh, I don't know if that was while you were gone, but I did mention tipping. I was like, I tip all the time. I've only not tipped once, and it was an accident. It was because I accidentally, they have like the merchant copy and the customer copy. I accidentally took the one that had the tip and everything on it. I felt really bad about that. But anyways, no, I've only not tipped once. And I always will usually find an excuse to tip. Like for example, right now since we're in quarantine, every single time I go get something to eat, I usually tip like 50 up. Like I'll tip like 50% or up if I'm going to get food. And the tipping option is, an option. Tipping is an option. But typically, yeah, I don't even take into consideration how nice people were. It's not like, oh, the service was really great. It's just like, oh, I can tip. Here's a tip. Um, yeah. Anywho, it's a very Gen Z mindset. Oh, Gen Z. Okay. Yeah, all right. I wanted to take umbrage with that, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I mean, yeah. It's definitely a newer mindset. I think because, let's not get really into this because I don't want this to be a bummer stream, but I think a lot of the younger generation, I'm gonna say everybody that's like, not everybody, a lot of people that are like under 40, right? The like these people coming up are realizing the failings of the country, and they're realizing that like now they have to do something about it. Like we're realizing like crap, if I want something to be done, or I want this thing to be clean, or I want this thing to be orderly, I'm gonna have to like step up and take care of it because our infrastructure is just all kinds of screwed and nothing's going to happen if I don't like take the initiative. It's really whack. So it's like, yeah, looking at that waiter and being like, I mean, yeah, the service was whatever, but if I don't do this thing, they're going to make not a livable wage, and so it's my responsibility now as the person with the pin to like make that wage somewhat more livable. Anyways, Gen Z says will not tip people if they don't like them. They're like, if you don't do your job, oh, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. You don't deserve my money without the understanding. Without oh. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think. Oh, you want to talk about Japan? When I was in Japan, people made a really big circle around me and they linked arms, and I was scared. And I don't know what it was. They were all like very, very young. I didn't know if it was like a game, if it was like Cage the Dark Skinned Man. I didn't know what was happening, but they were very, very small, and I didn't move. And they were going like this. That's why I started doing that dance. They were doing that. And so a lot of times when I think of Japan, I think about those kids. Anyways, in Japan, I remember, we can talk about Japan a lot, but I'm going to make this very, very succinct and short. In Japan, it's very clean. It's not clean because they're clean. They have like systems for cleaning things. It's clean because the people are clean. The people will see trash and they will pick up the trash. Everybody cleans up after themselves and each other. Now, compare that to America, where nobody cleans up after each other and very rarely cleans up after themselves. And so when you get on the bus is filthy. And when you go to McDonald's is filthy. And when you get on the subway is filthy. And when you go to the post office is filthy. Because if we don't have a system in place of people that are going to show up with brooms and mops, and we're not paying them a lot, things just will gradually get more and more filthy. Now, of course, comparing that to Japan again, you sit down in a Japanese restaurant, whether it's McDonald's or a ramen shop, and you can wipe something down yourself. After you're finished eating, you neatly put everything you stack things on top of each other and you put it in the center of the table. You don't just get up and walk out with the chopstick wrappers here, chopsticks over here, cup of it. It's like you take all of the empty things, you stack them on top of each other, you push them close together as possible, and you put them in the center of the table and you wipe around it. That way when the person comes to clean stuff, they just pick it up, maybe do a little wipe here, but everybody's taking care of themselves and each other. And I don't think they're doing that because everybody loves each other. In fact, the opposite. I don't think that people care about each other that much in Japan at all. But I think they do it because they understand if they don't do it, we're all going to be living in filth. So let's all just do our part. And I think that our mindset of tipping people and our mindset of supporting artists, is like, if we don't do this, everything's going to fall apart. So let's just like try to take care of the people that aren't being taken care of. It's like people that go and they panhandle or they give money to somebody that's on the side of the street. It's like, this is not your child. You are not raising this person. This 50-year-old man, you might be 17 years old. It's like, this isn't your responsibility, but mentally, our country is not taking care of these people. So now it's kind of my responsibility to take care of these people. It's just a rarer mentality over here than it is in Japan. And that is all I'm going to say about Japan. It's funny how those of us who have less money in our pockets are way more willing to tip high and donate to causes. Isn't that interesting, Maddie? That's interesting, right? Don't hoard money. There's a personal responsibility Americans ironically aren't taught to have despite our obsession with individuality and manifest destiny and all that. You thought about this, Star. I'm not the only person that's been thinking about this. Okay. Can you play the This Is America remix chord, says Madcat. Madcat, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a stream in like ages. I know Austin Chase is making a joke or making a point that's also funny, which I think is what a joke is. But no, yeah, wearing a mask in Japan is not a political debate. In fact, wearing a mask in Japan is appreciated and expected. When I was in Japan, the only reason I didn't wear a mask is because I felt like if I wore a mask, I would be seen as like, what's the word? I would be seen as like mocking them, like, right? If I got on the train with a mask on, I was like, oh, they'll think I'm just like trying to act like them, and that might be offensive. But then my friend told me like, no, it's seen as like, polite. It's like a polite gesture to like try to keep your germs away from everybody. And then I started wearing a mask. But anywho, Mad Cat's been in school. I hope school is going well. But no, really quickly, because Austin says that it was a genuine question. No, everybody like wears masks in Japan all the time, everywhere, like all the time. It's like people wear masks so often in Japan, Austin, that it's just a fashion thing. Like if you go into a store to buy clothes, you can also buy masks. If you're going to buy like some new like Adidas sneakers, you can also buy an Adidas face mask, and it's going to have an Adidas price tag on it too. It's not going to be cheap, but like, yeah, people wear masks there. It's like woven into fashion. It started off as definitely a health thing, but at this point, I think people just wear it because it's just part of their culture. People in Japan have worn masks for years. This is true, Cyber. Mad Cat, though, asks if I can play the This Is America remix chords, which are, This is America. Oh, it's not, I'm hearing the Gucci Gang chords, but that's not it. It's, oh. There it is. And then, no. That's them, right, Mad Cat? Those were them. I don't know how I was able to remember them off the cuff like that. I'm in a small rural town, says Austin, and here, people are refusing to wear masks. It's upsetting. I'm sorry about that, Austin. I mean, I'm in a really big city, Los Angeles, and people here are also refusing to wear them. Not en masse, but there's a lot of people. You get one. You get one every few minutes. Unrelated but hot take, Chocolate Rain by Tay Zonde ran, so This Is America by Charles Gambino. Good trip and fall. Oh my god, that is a hot take. Wow, that is, like, usually people say hot take and they make very tepid, lukewarm takes. That was actually extremely hot. That's fine. And I completely understand you saying that, by the way. But, yeah. Chocolate Rain was ahead of its time. Tay Zonde was ahead of its time. Since we were talking about IKEA earlier, I have to say, when I was at IKEA, Working there, by the way, it was my job. When I worked at IKEA, I worked in the bistro, and Tay Zonde would come in like twice a week. Like he was always in there, just like getting lunch. And I'm not like a starstruck person, especially when it's something like, oh, a funny video from YouTube from years ago. That's not really me. But that man is extremely charming. I would like talk to him on my breaks. He has so many interesting things to say, and he's just a dude, you know. He's just a dude with a life. His voice does just sound like that though, which is wild. But anyways, the Japanese government decided to hand out 2 masks per household, and I hear the citizens made fun of it. It says sharp. Meanwhile, here they cost like $8 each. Speaking of fashion, Dig the Shirt says, Pollux, thank you. This shirt was made by a friend of mine whose artist name is... Oh crap. Have I forgotten? It's Keto. Anyways, he's really dope. I don't know if his art looks like this anymore, but he's really great. Good morning, by the way, Pollux. Boom, 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 boom. Is Jaime here now? Lindsay... Whoa, Lindsay. Aww. Lindsay, thank you. You want to hear something, Lindsay? You want to hear Vanilla? Shocker made Hit Zonde is a musical masterpiece, and I will die on this hill. Die away, Dar. It is a musical masterpiece. This is America very quickly became its own subject of criticism. This is the conversation we need to have. Oh. Oh, crap. Sorry. I think I'm gonna have to dip early, says Maddie. Okay, Maddie. Bye-bye. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. Also, we all know money talks, so I have a financial Friday. Aw. You know, Lindsay's got me all strapped up now, Maddie, so my Friday is very financial. I mean, yeah, though. Sorry. Sorry. Did Maddie already leave? If you're not gone yet, Maddie, this one's for you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Maddie. I hope I'll see you back here on Monday. But yeah, sorry, we're talking about artist stuff. Yeah, I don't know. This country's a nightmare, and I was talking to Drillix about artists and like supporting artists based on liking their art, or supporting them based on liking them as a person, or the third option, supporting them based on your knowledge of how artists are not supported. You know? Okay. We can get on with it now. We can get on with it. I'm gonna miss my buddy. I'm gonna miss my buddy at Drillix. That's my like buddy. Oh. It's okay, Jaime. It was just a bunch of rambling. Is this a video? Is this film? What are you looking at outside your window? Los Angeles? If possible, would you be able to play Dark Rose? Got me in? Got into it after hearing Amnesia the other day on Spotify, says Polly. Pollux? Okay, Ava, Dark Rose is Ava's song, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Right? Is this it? Pollux? Madcats has been making music for 2 years now. Still can't make melodies as good. Any advice? Yeah. Yeah, I got some advice. Madcat. That's dimmer switch. Thanks, Lindsay. That's dimmer switch. Dark roast is. Oh Christ! Here we go. I'm gonna have to do it. Pardon me. Who asked for dark roast again? Show yourself. Dark roast. Oh, I remember this mistake. Yeah, that's okay, Pollux. You don't have to apologize. Okay. I need the chords though. I feel like that's not right. Okay, alright, calm down. Mance just says item shop. That's a completely different song. Also, that song is a sample of another song that I made. Okay. Let me know if you'd be. Oh my god, sorry, I'm getting emails right now. Ah! That's my stress screen. Okay. Is that it? Who asked for this? just found that song. You just found that song. Well, thank you for listening to it. Thank you for listening to anything from Lush Stream. It's usually pretty hard for me to relearn Lush Stream songs because they're, oh, ooh, Lindsay. You know, I said, Lindsay, do you have any idea how many times a day I say Boo Boo the Fool because of my mom? That, I think, is one of the things my mom used to say that I remember the first time I heard my mom say, I'm not Boo Boo the Fool. I wondered who that was. It wasn't funny to me because I thought Boo Boo the Fool was maybe one of her friends that was just susceptible to tomfoolery. But no, that's mad funny. I say that all the time. I assume it's a southern expression because my mom says it and you apparently say it, so. I'm just gonna assume that's where that came from. I'm assuming Boo Boo the Fool is something that came from the north. Oh, man. Okay, this is a long article about Khloe Kardashian being around Twitter where they call her the mayor of Boo Boo the Foolville. That's sick. I mean, word up. Okay. We never got around to the medley, did we? We never got around to the medley, and we're almost closing out the second hour. Now I want crispy crunchy. I want crispy crunchy. I may want crunchy chicken. I'm gonna make chicken nuggets today. I mean, I guess I can't really call them nuggets because it's not super processed. I just cut chicken into really small pieces and then I bread and fry it. Whenever you spin the song with a different tone, are you experimenting with it right at the moment? Or is it a result of a version you tried out before doing the release? No, I'm just messing around with it. Especially if you're talking about vanilla. I don't remember enough of vanilla's. Vanilla wasn't a lot of this. Are you hearing me? You getting me? Vanilla wasn't a lot of piano playing. I didn't touch a keyboard the entire time I wrote that song. I was just clicking out notes. That's why the chords are weird. Go for it, Lindsay. But, oh, goodbye, Cyber. Thank you so much for being in the stream. I appreciate you, Cyber. Always. So, I hope to see you in a future stream. I probably will. I hope you have a good weekend, Cyber. I really, truly do. From the bottom of my heart. My little war-torn, tar-filled heart. I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you eat something delicious. And I hope you, I have no idea how that works. I have no idea how mic stands work. The weird bendy ones, like the one that I'm using? I'm gonna look at that in a minute. I want to understand the science behind that. I seem to remember Easydora talking about movies a while back. Did you say you'd seen Snowpiercer, or did I imagine that? You didn't imagine that, Lindsay. I saw Snowpiercer. I'm a big Bong Joon-ho fan. So, of course I've seen the Snowpiercer. This was ages ago, so my memory may have twisted it. I mean, my memory is the worst out of anybody that takes part in this stream, so all is forgiven. Omni, when's the next quarantine song coming out? Oh, quarantine song coming out. Okay, so I don't know how original. Welcome to the stream. I've been super depressed lately, so it's really hard for me to make fun videos of me dancing around my room in 6 days when I'm not feeling good. So I haven't been making them, and there isn't any planned for release at the moment. And I apologize for that. Because I know you haven't really been in the stream, so you haven't been hearing what's going on. But basically, those would come out every Tuesday, and then some bad things happened, and I was like, hey, I'm going to cancel this Tuesday. I'm just not feeling up for it, and I haven't felt up for it since then. And I also got really busy doing commissions. But I am not done with them. I will pick them back up again. There just isn't like a solid concrete plan immediately for me to do that yet. And again, I do apologize for that. Finally watched it last night. Oh my god, says Lindsay talking about Snowpiercer. Did you guys enjoy Snowpiercer, says Pollux? Lindsay says I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. I like it. I like it. Thanks, Jaime. Jaime, would you like anything? What can I do for you? What can I do to make your Friday feel a little bit more fried? Jaime doesn't have a song. But maybe Jaime would like to hear one, huh? That's good to know. The room music stuff. Yeah. For the room music stuff. Yeah, Mad Cat. Word up, how original. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that they just kind of stopped happening. But these keep happening. I'm doing production streams. I'm playing with the idea of doing production streams once a week instead of once every 10 streams, which is effectively once every 2 weeks. I've been thinking about that. Once I get it like buttoned down in, maybe even several a week, who knows? But I do kind of want to do it once a week. Maybe just like it's a Friday thing. Every Friday I do a production stream. I don't know. People just seem to like it a lot, and I enjoyed it too. It's been on my rent list, says Pollux, about Snowpiercer. Guess I'll hit it up after. Been watching a lot of old Korean drama, like Full House and stuff. Pollux, Full House isn't Korean. I'm joking. I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about, but man, to pass up a joke like that wouldn't be Omni. Okay, if you haven't played Witchy, I'll take it. I have played Witchy, Jaime, but I will play it. I will play it. Both of these things. Two things can be true. Now I want to write a 5-page essay on Bong Joon-ho class analysis. It's very, very good. Snowpiercer is very, very good. Parasite is very, very good. Have you guys seen the movie Mother? If you haven't seen the movie Mother, maybe watch the movie Mother. It's very, very good. He's very good. He's very good. Also, to Pollux, who has been watching old Korean drama like Full House, may I recommend... Wait, when you say old Korean drama, you're talking about movies, right? I'm not going to recommend you anything. Never mind. Screw that. Watch Kingdom on Netflix. Mad Cat says, does Melodies... Oh my god, thank you, Mad Cat. Thank you for bringing me back. I completely lost it. Guys, if you ask a question and I get, veered off the topic, please remind me, because it's hard. When you're just seeing scrolling text, sometimes it's hard. So Mad Cat was talking about melodies. Does melodies need to play in the same exact key as the chords, or do you just go wild? If you do go wild, any advice on finding the right keys? I'm going to talk about melodies, and it's going to be a deep dive, so buckle up, Mad Cat. I'm just going to get to the bottom of the chat first before I do that. Lindsay's going to add Mother to their list. Next on my list was actually When Wolf Falls in Love with a Sheep. Please watch that. Please watch it, Lindsay. Oh, please watch the movie. Anyways, Jaime says, I've only seen Parasite, but I know some of his other stuff is on Hulu. Yeah, check it out. It's on Hulu. Okay, so melody. Let's talk about melody, Mad Cat. We can't talk about melody without talking about harmony. This is going to be a very, very quick but deep dive into my melody analysis and production. Okay, so when I'm writing music, Mad Cat, I start with chords typically. Very rarely do I start with rhythm or anything like that. I usually start with chords because chords to me are the thing that I attach to in music. I don't necessarily attach to drums. I don't attach to vocals. I don't attach to even, what's the word? I don't attach to lyrics. Because, I listen to a lot of foreign music, right? It's hard to attach to lyrics if you're listening to K-pop and you don't speak Korean. So, that being said, chords are the one thing that do kind of have to stay there. We can recontextualize a lot of things in songs, but it's harder to contextualize chords. And when I say contextualize, for example, you can hear the song Gucci Gang, but then you can listen to my remix of Gucci Gang, and it'll be a completely different song. Same vocals, but a completely different song, because I have changed the harmony around it. I have changed the harmony. So it's hard to talk about melody without talking about harmony. What is harmony? Harmony is just like notes fitting together. Think of it like a family. Like note, 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 harmony, chord. The notes are in harmony with each other. Now, when I'm writing a melody, since I said, Matt, I hope you're still with me. Since I said I start with a chord progression, let me just give you a very quick chord progression. 3 chords would be that's my chord progressions. 3 chords. And I can repeat this forever. Now, if I'm going to start applying melody to these chords, the first way that I used to do it when I was first learning how to compose music and learning about harmony in my own way, and when I say in my own way, I mean that when I played, it's hard to do it now because I know more about music, but if I'm playing like this, if I'm playing this chord, I'm going. You can tell that these chords, I mean these notes, and these chords don't really fit. Versus this. One fits, one doesn't. When I was first putting together music and I was playing keyboard, I noticed anything. There had to be a method to what I was hitting, or else I would hit notes that didn't necessarily fit with the chord. So, not really understanding how that worked as a new musician, not being able to look at a piano and go, this note will go with this note by sight. What I would do is I would play a chord and I would go, if I play the same notes in that chord, I know for a fact that it'll fit. It's kind of like, instead of, if you were trying to put together an outfit and you didn't really know what colors went together, like, oh, you're wearing black and red, then black down here, red, and I got the socks with the black and red, and then a blue here. Maybe you don't want to do that because that sounds too intimidating. So instead, you just wear all black. You're like, it's gonna match, it'll be fine. For me, I wear a lot of black, white, and gray, because if I go into my closet in the morning and I put on anything, it'll look at least somewhat efforted or thought out, versus actually going into my closet going, this blue isn't the same as this blue, I don't want to wear these jeans because they're faded and they won't really go with this shirt. So when I'm making chords and I'm making a melody, I will hit one of the notes in the melody that exists in the chord just higher up. So I'm hitting this note, I can hit that higher. Now, these are the chords, and this is the melody, but I'm just hitting a note that exists in the chord, and it's very simple. And that is a melody. That is a melody. It might not sound like it because of how basic it is, but that is a melody. Now, I can put a little bit of spice to that. This barely counts as spice, Mad Cat, but there are more than just this note in this chord, right? There's several notes, so I can play the other notes too. The notes that I'm playing over here and the notes I'm playing over here are the same exact notes. That's how I know that they will fit together. Now, when I grew a little bit as a musician, I started going, like, what other notes? Can I hit notes that aren't necessarily in the chord? And you can. This is the chord, but I could also hit, see, or this note. That's not in this chord over here, but it still fits. So very basic melody construction right there, right? Matt got very basic stuff. Thank you, Jaime, for reminding everybody to like the stream. Very, very basic stuff there, Mad Cat. Now, when you're asking me personally how I construct melody now, like that's a very rudimentary take on just how I make sure that what I know my space is to play in, right? Like obviously, if I'm making melodies to this chord, I probably don't want to hit a lot of the black keys. You know, they're not gonna fit in. It just sounds out of key because it is essentially out of key. Now, I know that all of my melodies, because you've heard some of my songs, Mad Cat, all of my melodies aren't as simple as they get a little more complicated. And so if I have a melody that's this, I might add like little rolls in it somewhere. Stuff like that. So I'm coming up with a very basic melody, and then you just kind of keep adding things to it. Think of it like in the same way that you would compose a song, Mad Cat. When I'm recording melody, definitely if it's not vocal melody is very different, and I don't really know what specific type of melody you're talking about, Mad Cat. So I'm going to talk more so about piano melody first and like instrumental melody. It's a lot of compounding things. Things will change over time. If you listen to any of my songs now, or you listen to them being made in the stream, I know you're like busy with school, so you don't really get to see a lot of songs go from infancy to completion a lot. But even the song Liminality, that didn't start off sounding like that. Maybe something more basic. And you just kind of add little things. You add like little runs. You add little intricate parts in it. That maybe doesn't have necessarily seem necessary, but it gives it character. It makes it so it's not so boring, not so basic. But essentially, my jumping off point, Mad Cat, for making melodies is looking at the chords and trying to contextualize the chords. Like if the chords are going here and then they're going down here, what can I do with the melody to follow and support these two chords? I can go like. You can just find the notes, you know. Usually playing chords and just kind of humming idly will help you come up with melodies. Because if I approach making a melody, Mad Cat, by humming it, I'm going to come up with a certain type of melody. If I try to approach making melody by playing it and feeling around and noodling on the piano, I'm going to come up with a certain type of melody. If I try to compose a melody by clicking it out in MIDI on my mouse on my computer, it's going to sound different. Think about your approach, Mad Cat. I know I've like just put a bunch of words into the stream. I apologize for that, especially if you weren't Mad Cat and didn't particularly care about this. Apologize. But Mad Cat, what is your approach to making melodies? That's a very important thing. Are you sitting down at a piano? Are you humming them out? Are you on your computer clicking them out with a mouse? This matters. It might seem like it's irrelevant, but it matters a lot what your method is. Because obviously if you're sitting and clicking them out on a piano, and I'm telling you to sit down at a grand piano instead of like a laptop, it's not going to be very conducive or useful to you, right? So I probably should have asked that up front. Anywho, the chat. Okay. I'm gonna play Witchy now because Jaime wanted that. I gotta add another part to that song. I actually need to hear that part about how you're developing the chords being important. Oh. Word up, Lindsay. I'm glad that it helped. See, I didn't kill the entire chat. I'm trying to figure out how to add another part to Witchy. Currently, Witchy song is kind of an amalgamation of this. It's that part, and then it's this part. I'm trying to, and you know, it builds back up. It's I want to make a different part. I do really like that. No, not there. But I do like that. Whenever I start from something I hummed, it's a lot easier to go from there, right? We can naturally, because it's like so instantaneous. We're so in tune with melody and our own vocal cords that like we think of a note, we make the note instantly. If you're sitting at a piano and you think of a note, just the 2 to 5 seconds it's going to take for you to physically find the note can sometimes ruin your workflow of coming up with a melody. Mad Cat says, yeah, I produce through a laptop. Unfortunately, I don't have an instrument yet, so coming up with melodies is a tricky part for me even after so long. Regardless, thanks for the brief guide. Mad Cat, hum melodies. If you're sitting, just kind of sit. This is a thing that a lot of musicians do, Mad Cat. You probably do this also, but you're listening back to your song and you're trying to think about what you need to add, drums or whatever, or what needs to go on, and maybe you'll turn off your monitor or you'll close your eyes and you'll kind of lay back and you'll just listen to it, or you'll put your head down and you just are intently listening to it and trying to imagine hearing it in like a venue, or hearing it in a club, or hearing it in a store, or hearing it in a car, sound system. You're just trying to envision what this song's final product needs to sound like. When you're doing that, Mad Cat, and you're trying to come up with a melody, hum a melody. Hum a melody that sounds cool to you. And if you have to hum it and record it into your phone or whatever, record it in some way so that you're not breaking up the workflow. Record that vocal melody, and then later transcribe it with MIDI. Pull up a synth and then clicking in the notes. Go off of what you're hearing. Don't try to write it and compose it at the same time. I know those two things seem like they're synonymous, but they're actually not. Try to write it try to compose it in your head or record it with your mouth, and then go as far as like picking out the notes and composing it and sound designing it. Doing the two things at the same time makes both processes they're at odds with each other, something that might help, coming up with the function of coming up with melodies, that can help. But if you're talking about more of like a theoretical, like wishy-washy, emotional coming up with a melody, how do you come up with a good one? I think that just comes from time and coming up with melodies. Obviously, if you listen to like my old music from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the melodies aren't going to be nearly as well informed and dynamic as they are now. And I hope that in 5 years from today, my melodies will even have taken on a different form, and there will be maybe a little bit more harmony going on in them. Hello, Crow, and welcome to the stream. I think that as far as vocals, I always record melodies with my vocals, but I very rarely would record harmonies with my vocals, and that's something that's kind of like my new frontier. Like, I'm trying to conquer that as well. Lindsay says, I've hummed bass lines that came into my head, even if it sounds ridiculous now, and I know that could be useful later. Always. Always, Lindsay. Yes. I have had trouble translating what I hear or hum into actual notes, but I don't practice much, so I'm sure that would help. Oh yeah, please do that, Jaime. Please do that. It's a skill. It's like a muscle, just like anything else. You can work it out. Like for me, even now, like just now when I was like, and I figured it out, like, I hit some of the wrong notes, right? Sometimes humming them, and then trying to find them on piano, it takes a long time. But I'm getting better and better at it. It's just from practice, right? Okay. Gotta go, says Liana. Thank you, Liana, but I hope you all have a great weekend. Not sure if I'll be on the stream on Monday. I might have to do a mini road trip. Catch y'all later. Enjoy your road trip, Liana, if you do indeed have to end up going on one. But, I'll be here all week next week, so hopefully I'll see you in at least one of the streams. Please enjoy your weekend. I hope to hear from you soon. It helps to know where the center of the chord is, says Lindsay. It absolutely does. Center of the chord, is that what it's called? I'm not sure. but I know what you mean. Chordal center, is that a thing? That sounds smart. That sounds theoretical and well informed. Kind of reminds me of a rough sketching a picture, says Pollux. Adding small details after putting down the line work while trying to decide what you want to use as your medium for final work. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. A lot of my workflow issues used to come from trying to find the right sound, trying to find the right sound. I no longer am like this. Now, instead of trying to find the right sound, I just record things, and then later I'll go back over them with a different sound if I need to change that. But I've killed so much time like scrolling through kicks and being like, what's the right kick? No, I need to sound like this. I'm like, whatever. I'll just put in a garbage kick, put some compression on it so it sounds a little bit louder, and then I'll put it in the mix, and then later I can, fine tune things. But honestly, sometimes, and this is where things get a little warbly and less stable, people say, oh, you should do this, because it'll help with, what happened to this person's car? She's like vacuuming the like so much, like it looks like ash, but it also looks like maybe whatever. It's none of my business. Point is, when somebody is trying to teach you how to do music, or somebody is telling you how they do music, somebody will say, hey, you should get like a collection of samples that are your sounds, or save your patches, or organize your stuff so it's in this thing, But the thing that you need to understand is everybody's workflow is different. You need to figure out what your workflow is and then cater to that, right? Like somebody like Andrew Huang's workflow is like having a bunch of cables hanging so that they're easy to get to, so that they're not wrapped up in a drawer somewhere. That is not my workflow. That does not work for me, and I do not like that. But it works for him, and that's good. It might work for thousands and thousands of other people that are not me. So I'm glad that he said that. But I try to be really careful when I'm telling people how to come up with melodies or how to come up with music, because it's like, yeah, it works for my workflow. My workflow, it's actually good to have myself like flanked with keyboards where I'm just like reaching out and like turning knobs. This might be overwhelming for somebody, They might spend too much time scrolling through keyboards trying to look for the right sound, whereas me, I'm just like hitting random stuff. And also, every time I make a song, I usually go full cloth. Now, what is full cloth? Have you guys heard the term like sprung from, what is it, whole cloth? I say full cloth, but is there a difference? Whole beans? I feel like it's whole cloth. No. Whoa. Does anybody know this thing? Sprung full cloth? Oh, I feel like an idiot. I'm so sorry. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I heard it full cloth. Okay. No, cloth, Lindsay. Not cloth. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The point that I'm making here is, when I'm making music, usually I will sit down in a vacuum, and I will go, okay, what do we need? And I'll scroll through kicks, and I'm like, I want that kick. Scroll through some claps, I'm like, those claps will do. Scroll through some hi-hats, those hi-hats will do. Then I'm like, chord, 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 chord. And then I'll put that on drums. Did I want those drums necessarily? No, I could have scrolled for hours. Did I want to do it in a piano sound? No, maybe I wanted to do it in a Rhodes piano sound. But I didn't. I'm trying to get these ideas out quick. And somebody will say, well, then you can come back and fix all that stuff. But sometimes, over the course of just listening to it, I kind of like this version more, right? And so, is there a right and wrong way? Somebody may say, well, you should go back and change some things because those weren't your original idea. And then somebody else may say, well, you kind of, it was kismet, you happened upon this version of this, so maybe that's the song now. The long and short of it, guys, is there's going to be a million versions of your songs that people aren't going to hear. People are only going to hear what you share with them. And that is going to be, it's like making the Bible. Somebody wrote things in the Bible a long time ago, and millions and millions and millions and billions of people are just reading those words and like taking them as fact. And you kind of get to be that when it comes to your music. You get to just do things and then release them. And if somebody listens to it and goes, that's cool, they're not going to hear the mistakes. They're not going to know what that song could have been. They're just going to know what that song is because you made it. It's gospel now. And so, something to take into consideration, right? especially Mad Cat, if you're going about like writing like melodies, like improve your melodies. Definitely always grow. It's impossible not to grow, but also just keep in mind that art's art, baby, and nobody's really gonna know the different branching ideas and eventualities that could have resulted in your artistic expression, except for you. Bubble is in the stream. Bubble says, "I think this is the latest I could possibly be, but I'm here." We appreciate you, Bubble. We are getting ready to close up the stream, but thank you for making the time to come in. I do appreciate it. Lindsay says, "I used to follow Deadmau5 back in like 8th or ninth grade, but then like last year he was tweeting some nonsense. I don't even remember what about." And I told him he tweeted like 12-year-old. Yeah. So he blocked me. Oh. I believe this. I think... Is this a conversation about Deadmau5? This is all I'll say about Deadmau5 and then I'll move on. Deadmau5 is a really, really good producer, right? Why do I like Deadmau5? Deadmau5 is a really good producer. Yes, this is true. It became very apparent to me. I can't remember what year this was, but it was the year that DJ Hero 1 came out. So it became very apparent to me pretty early on, like during the Ghosts and Stuff craze, that Deadmau5 was made to be something that he wasn't. And I don't mean anything about his like music or anything. I think this really weird thing happened in our society where when someone was good at something, it was just kind of assumed or hoped that that person was also really cool, right? Like, somebody's good at singing. Oh, I really hope they're also very friendly and socially equipped and also hot and also smell good and also, like, agree with my, like, political ideals and, like, stuff like that. It's just, like, you like somebody's art, so you want to like them. And I think when Deadmau5 became very vocal, I started realizing, like, oh, I know this guy. And not like, oh, I know Joel Zimmerman or something like that? Joel Zimbob? I don't know. Anyways, I'm like, I don't know him personally, but it's like, I know this guy. I went to high school with this guy. I went to college with this guy. I played Counter-Strike with this guy. I don't like this guy. This is, like, not my homie. But I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know, when like my music started getting more popular, I was like, oh, people are gonna figure out like the type of person I am, my personality in any way, and they're gonna be like, oh, this sucks. This doesn't like match the bubbly, cute, boppy, you know, stuff I've been listening to all day. And so that's my thing on Deadmau5. Like, really good producer, kind of like a crummy man in general, but like, yeah, I mean, he was always crummy, and nobody would have cared if Ghosts and Stuff hadn't been Ghosts and Stuff. People like this respond that hate more so to positive things or the truth. Just my observation. Ooh ah. I think that line of thinking tends to vary. A lot of people have really bad self-esteem. A lot of people have some pretty trash self-esteem. I can attest to this. And so going on Twitter, if I'm on Twitter, right, and I'm scrolling and I see like 9 people go like, I just heard Sugar Glider. It's the dopest thing in the world, bro. Like, good job with that one. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then one person is like, yo, this is trash. Like, I hope you like freaking like fly off a bridge or something in the near future. Like, I can't stand this music. I'm probably gonna listen to that one and go. I mean, in the past, today I don't really care. Today, mean stuff gets said to me all the time. And I just mute it. But like a while ago, I think because of my own low opinion of my own music and myself in general, when I would see somebody like validate those like negative feelings I had about myself, it was just a little bit more packed more punch than like the compliments. Somebody says like, "Oh, that shirt looks nice," and I don't feel particularly confident about it. I kind of would just be like, whatever. Thank you though. And then somebody says that it's bad, and I'm just like, oh no, they found me out. They figured it out. Anyways, gotta do some caregiving. Oh, Pollux, you have my old job. That's so cool. Anyways, thank you for being in the chat. Appreciate you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah. It's just so funny, says Lindsay, about the Deadmau5 tweet, because I really did used to love his music, and now he has me blocked for pointing out that he tweeted like a child. It was warranted. I'm sure it was, Lindsay. I mean, he's like a jerk in general, but it's like, we know this. We're aware of this. But yeah, that's the thing. I feel like that's the thing. That's the thing. So for me with negative comments, now negative comments are kind of weird for me. Negative comments, anything on the internet that I see that's going to be reoccurring to me that's negative. For example, like maybe I'm in a thread and people are insulting me or something like that. What I'll usually do is I'll just mute the thread. Not because of like I want to pretend that those things don't exist. I know that people have some really awful opinions on me on the internet. If there was a particularly, and this will be like a little bit telling. I'll say this because it's the stream. But I have a song called Amnesia. In that song Amnesia, I was very, very upset. And there's a line in Amnesia where I refer to my ex as a cow. And it was very juvenile, and I was very upset. Anyways, it is a thing I did. Because that song, like, I'm not Drake, not to drag Drake back into this, but I referred to my ex as a cow. And then somebody on Twitter was upset that I got booked for a show, and they were like, how dare you do this? Omni fat shames. And I remember thinking for a really long time, like, what are they talking about? And I was like, what are they talking about? No, I don't. And then I scrolled through because I was like personally like, I was like, oh no, like, what did I do? I like scrolled through that person's Twitter and they had like screenshotted the Spotify like album art to Amnesia, and they're like, yeah, I used to be an Omniboy fan, but Omniboy fat shames and I can't stand him. And I was like, I get it. I was like, I'm not gonna run away from that. I did not have a conversation with that person on Twitter about it, but I was like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I think the thing that's funny about music and lyricism is a lot of lyricism is personal, and it's sad. It's sad because it's like, then why release the music? Why not just have it like in my room? And it's like, well, because I have bills to pay. But a lot of music is really personal, like a diary. And I feel like if I opened up somebody's diary and then I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they said this. Like, this person like himbos, they're ableist. It would be wild, right? It would be wild for me to do that. But I understand that, like, making really emotional music, sometimes you're going to say some stuff that just skip. Nobody spend any time on the himbo joke I made. Please don't. But I totally understood why that person said that, and I was just like, yeah, like, that's my bad, I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but I was just like in a really bad place, and so I said some stuff. And like what I thought what I said in that song was very tame compared to what is often said in songs. If we're just gonna go by the bucket, like there's some pretty wild stuff said in like hip hop songs that I'm sure that person likes, or that person's listening to like an Ariana Grande song, and it's like, okay, there's probably something pretty whack in there. Or we're listening to Lil Uzi just like straight up has like an anti-trans bar, but there's like a lot of people that I know that are trans and still listen to Lil Uzi, and so I'm just like, I mean, I'm not saying people should just be able to wild out and say whatever they want in their music, and sometimes it feels weird when it seems kind of targeted, but I don't know. I was in a bad place, and so I made a really sad song, and I wasn't feeling very good. And a lot of people, I guess, caught some strays. And when I say a lot of people, I mean this one person on Twitter that was really upset caught a stray in that song, and I felt bad. Yeah, the stream is still going, Daniel. But I mean, to be fair, relative to the variety of things I've heard you say, calling someone a cow is probably the worst I've heard. Maybe, yeah, it's pretty bad. I actually was really funny. I had a talk with my friend, Redacted, who listened to Amnesia when that came out, and he was like, "Man, we were like mad corny." And he like made fun of me for, I want to say like 6 months. It was like a pretty extended amount of time, like in a long enough amount of time to where I started feeling like, come on, bro, like the song's like a little old now. He made fun of me because he was like, I can't believe that girl did all that stuff to you, and like that's all you did. You refer to her as a farm animal in like a song, and like you're just gonna move on. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, people would probably have said and done some pretty like way wilder things, but I was like, whatever. This is my thing. and even that upsets somebody. So it's hard. It's hard. Got to write a lot of things in metaphors to make sure you don't, hurt anybody's feelings out there, I suppose. But I think, why am I talking about this? Why did I get on this? I legit don't remember how I got here anymore. Oh, because negative things on the internet. Negative things on the internet. I think that was a thing, that I saw on the internet. And I was like, I don't really want to be a part of this conversation, and so I muted it. Not because I wanted to pretend that it didn't exist, but because if I had to keep getting online and seeing it over and over, in the same way that I like delete comments that are like really whack, it's like if I have to see that comment several times a day, it's working more on my brain than it is on the person who made it, and I just feel like it's like my feed. You can't do that. It would be like if somebody like came into your house and like wrote on your wall like, "Yo, you mad whack. Here's your L." And it's like you're probably gonna wash it off. You don't want to wake up and see that every day, even if it doesn't particularly hurt your feelings. It's like, yo, this is my house. Write down your own house. Anyways, yeah, for sure, Lindsay. It's not great. It's not great. You know what's funny? I mean, this isn't funny. It wasn't even It wasn't even based in anything. It wasn't even based in anything. It was just like an idle insult. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was just an insult. And I thought it was pretty tame, but I understand. We all, there are certain things that hurt all of us. We're all hurt by certain things. One of my friends regularly, okay, so if I call somebody a cow in a song, I know at least one person is going to be so upset by it that they stop listening to my music altogether. And I don't remember who this person was, but I would like to issue an apology to whoever they were in the stream that I'm sure they will never see. But that's sad, lost a listener for life. And I'm sure if anybody approaches this woman now and says, "Hey, Omni is playing a show," she'll be like, "Man, screw that fool, he fat shames." And so I've lost her. And I'm sorry for that. But I also feel sorry, just laughing aimlessly. I'm laughing at things that you guys don't know. I feel like sometimes those things are necessary. I know it sounds like I'm freaking trying to shoot myself some bail, but sometimes those things are necessary. I don't think that like really, really whack stuff should ever be said, if it doesn't need to be. But if like somebody is venting, that's really cool, I guess. Some people need to vent. Unfortunately, if you're an artist, venting is usually a form of artistic expression, and so sometimes your venting can be your art. And so I released Amnesia. You know what's funny? I released Amnesia and I felt a lot better, as opposed to like contacting my ex and like yelling at her or something like that, or trash talking her to like all the homies, or like name dropping her in the song, for example, like all the like really wild, like super tacky, messy, greasy things I could have done. I didn't do those things. I kind of made like a really ambiguous song, and then I released it, and I was like, wow, I do feel kind of better now. I don't feel like I need to like talk all my friends' ears off. And so then I kind of moved on. And I don't really listen to that song anymore. I don't really play that song anymore. Every now and then somebody will ask me to play like the chords. Somebody will ask me to play the chords in the stream, so I'll play them. But as far as actually engaging with that song anymore, I don't. But it did lose me at least one fan, and so that's a shame. You know what's actually funny about that? It's not really that many people. one person. I think I've probably gotten lost more fans from at least saying Lustry than I did, than I did from saying from calling somebody a cow in a song. I could have said a lot worse, for sure, Lindsay. Yeah, and that's not justifying it at all. That's not justifying it at all. But I also think that. Wow. It's actually a really good conversation. It wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a conversation at all. I could have said much worse, but instead of relying on the defense that it could have been worse, I think I, as an artist, do have a really weird relationship with artists' art. In that, usually, and this is very divisive, by the way, so I'm not really trying to have a debate here about this, but the way I identify, or not identify with, but the way I consume people's art is usually as just art. I'm very rarely offended by people's art. I remember there is a Yayoi Kusama. Hold on, there's a Japanese lady, Yayoi Kusama. That is her name. Wow, how did I remember her name? There's this contemporary artist named Yayoi Kusama. She's Japanese, and she had a lot of exhibits about. I mean, she had a lot of exhibits, especially here in LA. She had like a whole thing at the LACMA. Everybody loves her. Oh, look at all the colors, and she's got a room full of mirrors and lights. Ah, and then she was like really racist, right? I'm not gonna spend really a lot of time on like why or how she was or whatever. I'm just gonna say that those were the two things, right? She's really good. She's also happens to be racist. And I didn't particularly care for her art at that point, you know. But I understand when a lot of people realizing that she was, and seeing that a lot of her art was, particularly and specifically, racist against black people. There's just a lot of comparing black people to animals. I'll say that. And so I saw that, and I took it very personally, where I was just like, well, this sucks. And I realized that there's a lot of people, especially in Japan, where she's from, that not only did not take it personally, but looked at it and were like, what's the problem? And so I think that my anger, not even anger, I guess just distaste, I was just like, I don't really care for this, you know? I don't really care for this. I kind of distanced myself from Yayoi's art. But if somebody has a music video or song lyrics or something like that where they say something, like a lot of people like to a lot of people like to beat up on pop punk, especially now, because a lot of pop punk, I'm not going to get into how again or why or when or what the content was, but a lot of pop punk lyrics are kind of misogynist and just, by 2020 standards, pretty problematic, right? You probably listen to a song and think, oh my god, this is awful. But at the time, we all loved it, We all being kids that liked pop punk, Boys and girls alike are yeah, I want to be this guy. Or yeah, I want this guy to be around me to some degree, Even though the lyrics were kind of washed. Or the narrative, even the narrative now of boy who's loser, girl who's jerk, girl likes jerk boys, I'm a nice guy, where's my woman reward? I think that that's a very problematic ideology to have, and well, it was forever. It was always problematic, but we are aware of how problematic it was/is here in 2020. But I think that listening to where's my woman reward music and being upset with the artist who made it is hard for me, because a lot of music I see, especially when it's really emotional, i.e. all emo music, I mean, let's talk about emo music and that lyricism because it was awful. It's a lot of like homegirls breaking up with me, mix in some suicide threats, you know, some like 13 Reasons Why, like early like call-ins. Like we got a lot of that happening in like emo music, and we listened to it and we were like, this is great. I also feel like that. I also feel like maybe suicide is the answer to being dumped. There's a lot of that, you know. Kids were listening to emo, kids were very angsty and emotional, and so it's hard. Also, by the way, the people that were making that music that I was consuming, they weren't teenagers. They were not high school kids. These people were full-grown adults that were making that music. Just to put things into context. Yeah. But anyways, I personally do not judge people based on their lyrical content because to me, whenever I hear music, obviously I know Ariana Grande has a lot of like ghost-written songs. I know when I listen to Taylor Swift, I'm not always listening to Taylor Swift's pen on paper. I know when I'm listening to Beyonce, there's a lot of songwriters in the studio with them, you know, that are writing a lot of their music. But if I'm listening to the majority of people's music, I kind of view it as a window into their soul. And sometimes um, it's not good in there, you know. Sometimes it's not great in there. I'm gonna say all the time, no one has a very pretty soul. I think that a lot of people feel and think things or would like to do things that aren't great, which is why people. I mean, people can't read minds. If people could read our minds, we would all hate each other. You know, it would be a really gross world. You know, but I feel like a lot of times when people are expressing themselves through art, especially in music, music is very specific. Music, in my opinion, is different than movies and different than books and even different than animation, especially when it's personal because it does feel like you're writing it. You're writing. It's like poetry. It's like a diary. You know, this is the window to your soul. And so when somebody writes a song and they sing it and you're seeing into them and you're not liking what you're seeing, it's hard for me to then not like that person because I know if I could see into every single person's soul, I promise I could find something that I wouldn't like, you know, something that I would like see, and then I'd be like, I mean, you're really cool, but that one thing though, like you think that one thing that sucks. It's hard, specifically with music, and so that's like my very long way of again not shooting myself bail. I totally understand that person with the cow thing, but yeah, usually when I listen to people's music and they say something, I'm like, whatever. There's been so many times where I've heard a like a song. Oh my god, like a breakup song. Oh my god, let's talk about R&B, baby. Want to talk about R&B for like 2 seconds? There's so many like R&B like girl group like breakup songs where it's like, oh, you did this and you did that. I'm about to blow up your house and light your car on fire. And it's like a lot of like, oh, you broke my heart, therefore I'm just about to make you miserable, bro. Like, I'm about to get you fired from your job. I'm about to burn your house to the ground. You like this car's gone now. Like, that type of stuff is just equally as problematic as like anything else in music, right? Where it's like this really weird, but it was so accepted. Like if you looked at a movie in the music video, it was like Beyonce's child, and they're all like strutting away from like a Lamborghini that's on fire, and there's like a dude next to the Lamborghini going like, oh no, my year's salary. Like we'd all be like, yeah, you get him, girl, get him. That's funny. I love this song. This is a bop. But it's like that's like not dope. That's like not the dopest thing, but you're looking into someone's soul, and it's like, yeah, if someone's hurting, these are the things they want to do. These are the things that they think. And when you're emotional, like a lot of times your emotions aren't really governed by what is logical or reasonable or open-minded or accepting or, you know, progressive. Sometimes you're just like angry. And so, I personally, when I hear people's music, or if I were to read someone's diary or read someone's poetry, I usually don't use the information I'm seeing in their soul to then judge them. I'm usually judging them by their actions, right? How many racist people do you guys know? Loads of them. Oceans of racist people. But how many of those racist people are doing things to express and enforce their racist ideals? Maybe half of them, maybe even 90% of them. But I guarantee you there's somebody that you're seeing every day that smiles and waves at you and actually cares about you when deep down they look at you and they're like, screw this little idiot. I can't stand this person. I live in a very, very Asian neighborhood, and I don't need to tell you that they do not like black people here at all. They can't stand me. But that doesn't mean that some of them can't, smile and wave or give me my boba when I've paid for it, or just, generally treat me with kindness. Even though I know in here there's some ugly stuff going on, out here there's some pretty stuff going on. So if I hear somebody's song and they talk about, doing some pretty whack stuff, but then I look at their life and they're like, chilling, I'm just like, oh, I just saw into their ugly soul for a minute. And, that's cool because I got an ugly soul also. Mance is leaving. Goodbye, Mance. Thank you for being in the stream. And that's going to wrap it up. That's my amnesia talk. But the reason that whole amnesia detour happened is because I was talking about negative comments online. I just mute them. That's how I deal with like people saying awful things about me on the internet. I just mute it because things only make me feel bad when I think about them. And if something literally doesn't exist on my feed, can't make me feel bad. I don't even think about it. I really don't want it to be 3 hours, guys. Hold on. I'm just showing all comments now. There has to be a line, though. Like, if you repeatedly talk about how women are this and that, you're still sexist even if you don't act like it. Okay, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Again, ugly soul. Like that. If you're, like, saying stuff like that a lot. Oh, it's so weird. It's hard. I'm right back here. I thought I got out of this conversation, but now I'm back in it. Jaime says, man, I think about that a lot when I'm at work talking to customers. I'm the only non-white person at my store, and I can tell some customers be feeling some type of way, no matter how nice I am to them. I thought you had been done by now, says Cyber. So did I, Cyber. So did I. I have written some poetry songs that definitely reveal the ugliness in my soul. That's so important. Oh, it's important, though. Jaime. That's also important. It's really weird. Here's the thing. Oh my god, you want to know the thing? Nothing's black and white. There's a person, I've talked about it in a previous stream, I'm not going to talk about her by name, but I'm going to talk about a thing she did. She did a really racist thing. She's pretty racist. She hasn't treated me particularly nice. She doesn't treat other black people particularly nice. She was on a Twitch stream, like, running away from a black man on the subway, on the sidewalk, who literally didn't even know she was there. Just a guy minding his own business on the phone, and she, like, ran past him, clutching her purse, because that's mad funny. So, that's her sense of humor. I know that that's, like, her core person. When all of this stuff started happening, the stuff that's been happening, but when it became, like, I guess culturally acceptable to, like, care about Black lives again, she, like, posted, like, a Black Lives Matter thing, a hashtag, retweeted some, like, police brutality, donated $50 to, like, a bail fund, and then she was like, cool, got it. And so, in this particular scenario, it's like the soul is ugly, but she's doing performative things, right? She's showing up to the protest, she's donating the $50, she's doing the thing. And typically, I'm okay with this. I think the reason I'm not okay with it with her is because I know her personally, and I know. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of her, like, trash. But when it's, like, an artist, like Lindsay says, like, if somebody, like, keeps having, like, sexist lyrics and stuff like that, I would still like to see how they behave in their normal life. It's just so weird, right? Because it's an artist's responsibility or choice to bear the ugly soul, right? I didn't have to make Amnesia. I could have kept making songs about freaking bumblebees and gumdrops and bonbons and sugar gliders. I could have kept doing that. I didn't have to open the ugly soul. But there is something cathartic about opening the ugly soul, maybe therapeutic, right? And so I open the ugly soul every now and then. There's a lot of ugly soul on Amnesia. On Ego Death, also a lot of ugly soul. I just got a little bit better about making my lyrics more Coldplay-esque, and that they don't necessarily inform specific events in my life, but are just a little bit more vague, so people can feel free to associate with them or not. But I haven't learned how to do that yet, so amnesia is just very, very blatant. But yeah, now I use maybe a little bit more flowery language when I want to say something that's particularly ugly. And I think when when I see somebody's ugly soul, it's hard. They have to be behaving with the ugly soul too. They have to be doing something in the world. They have to be doing something actively bad. I know that sounds awful, but I just have such a low expectation from people that people have to be doing something actively bad in the world for me to go like, oh, okay, I don't like this person. But if somebody's like inside their brain, they're like, I don't think that black people are humans. I think that they're animals. If somebody has that thought in their brain, and I even hear them say it, and I'm like, that's trash. I don't want to be around this person. Keep this person away from me. That sucks. But if somebody has that in their brain and they don't say it to me, maybe they put it in their diary or something like that. It's rough. It's rough. It puts me in like a really weird place. Oh, thanks, Daniel. I appreciate that. I'm sorry that this very long conversation has gone off of amnesia. Even though I've never experienced something like that, listening to it hurts. See, I don't want to hurt anybody with it. I think, okay, you can cast shade and be classy about it to make a point, and you're definitely classy. Oh, thank you, Cyber. I really appreciate that. I would like. Here's the thing. My music is for the world, and my experiences are my own. People have not been there for my experiences, so they have to, associate with them or relate to them in any way they can, if they are choosing to do so. And so, if you don't really know me, and you don't know my ex, and you didn't know the nature of a relationship, and then you just hear a song where I call my ex a cow, I totally understand how awful that comes off and sounds. And in a lot of ways, that's my responsibility, because I should know, hey, these people aren't going to get it. They're just going to take this away from it, and that could be a problem. I have to know that. But I don't all the time. We all need more of that as far as empathy, says Cyber. I'm gonna get away from this because I can talk about this for like another hour. All I'll say is I very rarely judge specifically. I very rarely judge musicians based on the lyrical content of their songs, because I understand this is me bearing the soul. Art, it's bearing the soul. It's kind of different, yeah, because art has like different purposes. Like if somebody's drawing like a political cartoon, that is a very different purpose than bearing of the soul. Or if somebody's writing a TV show that's going to come on, to me, that feels a little bit different than bearing the soul, because it's like this is informing culture and like our social construct. Somehow, I do give musicians a pass to say not just anything in their music, but I do give them a pass. Like for example, if who is like if Lana Del Rey like says the N-word in whatever her new music is. Probably not going to give Lana Del Rey to say a pass or have a pass to that. Maybe she says it in her head all the time. Maybe that's part of her ugly soul. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that from Lana Del Rey. I'm going to be pretty upset. But yeah, I do generally, within reason, kind of allow like musicians and artists to kind of, be a little bit ugly in their art, as long as it feels like it has a point, and it feels like it is just whether that point is to vent or whether that point is to come to terms with something on their own. I get that. It was a little bit different than a tweet, right? Anywho, that's all I gotta say on that. Crow says, what if the song was racist but the person only did it for fun and no harm meant to be done? even if the person is an overall good guy. The song is racist. I like these thought experiments, Crow. Okay, the guy is overall good. He's a good guy. He's your regular Drake. That's the third Drake mentioned in this stream. I don't know how you guys feel about Drake, but I'm just going to say he's a good guy for the sake of the argument of this thought experiment. If the person is a good guy, they made a song that's racist, they did it for fun. I think that there is in that explanation my thing. Like, why was the racism fun? I suppose, I guess, is my question about that, Crow. Why was it fun? Because that matters, right? That matters. Somebody could say, oh, that's funny. Lindsay said the same thing, basically. Yeah, Crow. Lay it on me, baby. Lay it on me. I miss you, Kid James. I may never mention Joji in the stream again. Omni, how long have you played piano for? Says. So casual. A long time. Several years. Over 8, I want to say. Over 8. Because that, video that I posted up was, at least 8 years old, I think. Ugh, sorry, my mustache itches. My mustache itches? My lip itches. My mustache can't itch. I miss Filthy Frank, says Daniel. Ugh. Don't mention Filthy Frank in the stream either. Oh my god, Jaime retracted that comment. Oh, Jaime's so funny. Oh, I wasn't actually I wasn't being a jerk. I'm sorry. Oh man. No, I don't need to get into it. I really try, there are a lot of times, guys, if I'm being completely honest, where you guys will mention an artist in the stream. You'll be like, have you heard of this person? Or how do you feel about this person? And it is somebody that I know personally and I have a weird personal relationship with, be it good or bad. And sometimes I've dipped into it a little bit, like when you guys brought up Caro Caro Bonito, and I unfortunately maybe said some things that maybe I wish I hadn't said. Not because they weren't true, but because this is a public video that just gets saved forever. And some of those things are maybe a little bit personal. Some ugly things, but I have some, it's just the music world is just like the social world, I have some people that I've had aggressive falling outs with, or they've had and said things that I haven't agreed with. I'm gonna glaze over this, Jaime, because I understand a lot of people do love Filthy Frank and Joji. My very good friend Adrillix being one of them. When Adrillix is around, Adrillix loves Filthy Frank and Joji. If you go and you look at Adrillix's art, Adrillix's entry into the art world was, and this, I'm not trying to make fun of Adrillix or anything, but Adrillix's entry to the art world was doing Filthy Frank fan art. If you look at Adrillix's Instagram, all of the earlier posts, I don't know if she deleted them, it was only Filthy Frank fan art. And so I get people liking them. However, there's a lot of stuff that Filthy Frank said, portrayed, that was really, really unsavory and particularly offensive and racist and discriminatory and intolerant of a lot of people, but of me specifically. And so I didn't like that. And then when he started making a bunch of music as Joji, I was just kind of I think I'm good. I think I'm good on this one. And the music is good. The music is quality. His music is not bad. But I don't ever want to listen. I don't care for that particular man at all. Even though I know he is very talented. I'll never say he's not a good musician. His music is good. I just yeah. it's like a personal thing. And so I'm not judging anybody who likes or listens to his music. It's just that's why I like jokingly said don't ever mention him in the stream again to Jaime. But yeah, it's okay. Okay, and also Crow that said, you diss Crow Bonito, time to cancel Long Boy. I appreciate this joke. But no, I didn't diss them. I know you weren't in that stream. I talked about my relationship with Caro Bonito and how we were at one point like pretty close and pretty good friends. And I won't talk about, because I don't want to turn this into like that type of stream where it's like a gossip stream or a rumor stream. But I just talked about how our relationship had gone. And then Caro Bonito mentioned me in a tweet, Crow, kind of recently. And in that tweet, it kind of showed how little they like care about me as like a friend or an artist. And so I had like a problem with it. And so, yes, that was a thing. I don't have like a personal vendetta against them. They're really good people, really good musicians. It's just, I, just like everybody else in the world, I've had personal relationships with people. And sometimes it's just like, you'll hear somebody's name and you're like, I don't really want to talk about them. And it doesn't have anything to do with the person they are now. It's just, you have your experiences, right? Cyber says, I don't think the music is that quality because it's the sad boy stuff with super wet synths and whiny lyrics, says Cyber. I mean, that's just what Ego Death sounds like to me. Super wet synths and whiny lyrics. But no, I hear what you're saying. Okay. Everyone loves it and I don't get it, says Cyber. I mean, I'm not going to turn this into me talking about Joji. I understand why everybody loves Joji. When Joji entered the music scene, Joji didn't exactly start from, zero. Think of Joji entering the music scene as a YouTuber entering from the Vine world. It's like, already had a fan base from them doing one thing, and so when Joji releases his first song, it's like, of course it's going to do pretty well because he had an established YouTube fan base of people that like really, really love Filthy Frank, and then there's the whole like 88 Rising complex, which I'm definitely not going to talk about here because it's a slippery slope, guys. If I start talking about like my grievances with the music industry and the people that lie within it, this stream could get really bad really quick. So I'm going to pull out of this. I'm going to pull out of this nosedive for a second. I don't know what a wet synth is. But whiny lyrics I definitely see. Wet synth is basically, no, let's actually talk about that in the production stream. If you guys can remind me, I'll go over wet synths and like super, super saturated. If you want things to be extremely wet. Dripping synths, I can do it. Jaime says, I'll respect whatever you don't want to talk about. That's really sweet, Jaime. But you don't have to worry about it. I'm just saying this because if in the future somebody brings him up or wants to talk about him in the stream, and I seem a little bit like, I seem like I'm dancing around something, that's why. It's just, I have like experiences. I'll just say that. I have experiences. Okay. God, we packed a lot of that. And also, I said I didn't want the stream to be 3 hours, and here we are at 2 hours and 56 minutes. This song is called Hush Hour. Called Hush Hour. I wrote it a while ago. It is the song that marks the last piece of the stream. Going over news, which I should have done before I played that really quickly. I do have 2 EPs out and a single. First EP is called Quick Breath. The second EP is called Ego Death, and the single is called The View, and you can hear them all on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Brave, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. I screwed that up, but it's okay. Thank you for being in the stream. I didn't know Junk was in here. Thanks for being in the stream. I didn't even know. Hello, Isaac. Welcome to the very end of the stream. You have made it to the final moments of what was a 3-hour long stream. But it's going okay, and I hope you've had a marvelous week. It is Friday, meaning that this is the last stream of the week. I won't see you guys again until Monday. So really quickly, I want to thank everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. Next week, again, for Friday, is going to be a production stream. I'm going to be doing a stream in OBS again. So for those of you that enjoyed that stream about 5 streams ago, we're going to be returning there. So hopefully you enjoy it. Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. I didn't even know you were in here. Appreciate you. Always shouts out to Lindsay. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you for all the help, Lindsay. And thank you for the Financial Friday, Maddie and Lindsay. Also, I'm planning on making the thing for you, Lindsay, this weekend. I was supposed to be a surprise, but I feel like if I tell you now, I'll feel more obligated to do it. I'm making the thing. I'm making the vanilla thing. I know you can play most of vanilla already, but I'm just going to do it because I feel like it's necessary, and you've been a good help. So yeah, the next in the studio stream is this Friday. Also, yeah, just understand the stream, guys. I don't want it to be a thing where I have to get on Twitter and then I see like, oh, Omni has a problem with so and so. I'm just trying to mind my business now. I'm trying to mind my business. I was just saying that because Jaime said something that made me mad. But yeah, I'll send you the thing. Again, thank you everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. It's been 3 hours. I do need to go eat something. I really do. And so please enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys hopefully Monday morning for stream number 166. 166, baby. I'm gonna like mess with some more OBS stuff and try to like mess with scenes. Also, I would like to have a second camera angle. I know I'm like probably getting ahead of myself. Don't really know what I'm doing, but I would like to. Just things to think about. I might hit you up, Cyber, at some point this weekend asking you questions. So thank you in advance for that. Abo, everybody. There is lots of flag burners who have too much freedom. We want to make it legal for policemen